And welcome back to Popcorn Viewers. We missed you. It's been a week since we last saw you. It appears, based on our numbers, you all went and saw Mario instead of watching the podcast, which, you know what, I can appreciate. We missed you, and we overdid our expectations, guys. We thought it was going to be 2 hundos, like, all the way through from now on. Super Mario came out, and they gave us, you know what, you're right. I think I will go see that movie. So I think we just chose right. That's what I think. So, as the audience knows, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs, we use the stuff that gets you drunk. So the audience knows, Josh and I will be having a meeting later this week or maybe early next week to talk about things like a website going up where you guys can all read Jordan's hardcore reviews and Josh and I going, boop. So we'll talk about some of that stuff later, but just keep aware. For now, we're going to start where we always start. I'm going to lead us off this week in What Were We Watching? First thing I watched, I tried to stay away. I didn't know if I'd be into it, but I watched Beef, and I was super into it. And what got me was I saw that it was written by Ali Wong, and I was like, well, I love her. I love everything she puts out, really. So I'm going to watch it. And it was so good. I'm not going to lead you guys along here. I'm going to tell you it's a popcorn and 3 for me just because I really love the way it was written. It's very off the wall, so you have to be willing to follow a very eclectic plot, right? Because you gotta follow them to all the places they go within the plot. But you've got, a contractor with a conscience, or so it would seem. Yeah. Okay? And then you've got the rich woman that's a businesswoman that's unsatisfied with how her life is going, so she's got to take it out on other people. Just an unhappy human being. And it doesn't make you wait for it. They immediately run into each other, and the shenanigans begin. And, of course, you have the nosy, rich neighbors all over the rich neighborhoods that have to be involved in your business, which is a running theme here in the shows I watch. And it always makes me get annoyed with humans. And I'm just like, why can't we go back to a time where not everyone had a ring chat and you all just minded your own damn business? Like, I don't need to hear, Esther, that you heard someone knock on someone else's door, okay? I don't need to hear that the Amazon guy's different than the guy last week, Esther. Just mind your own damn business. Whoever wants to come to my house can come to my house. If I get robbed, I get robbed. It's my own damn fault. But they go heavy into that plot line. They do a white savior piece, which is kind of funny. Talks a lot about struggle, a lot about being poor and what we would do to no longer be poor, right? How far down a hole would we sink to recover? And what are the lengths we would go to get back at someone that's wronged us? It does all of that. That's why I said you have to be willing to follow this eclectic plot. It is a very deep story. It is well worth the watch. I gave it a popcorn 3 beers. You have, oh my goodness, why did his name just leave my brain? I had it written down and I don't have it on this sheet of paper.
Stephen Yeun? Yeah,
thank you, Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead, right? And the one that we all stopped watching The Walking Dead when he was killed. Yes, that actor, and Minari as well, and no...
I bailed a little earlier than that.
You were done after that?
I bailed before that, yeah.
Pardon me. But yes, he is a great actor. He's fun. He's also in the inaugural episode of I Think You Should Leave Now, which I'm sure we'll be talking about season 3 here in a bit on this show. He's fantastic. He crushes it. He's just funny. He's amazing. She's just, I don't know. She's one of my favorite in the world right now with what she's doing. She's great. The way she writes her characters, the way she acts, she's fantastic. Next movie I watched was Operation Fortune. It was a popcorn for me. It was, I wrote paycheck, but you got Jason Statham, Aubrey Plaza, Josh Hartnett makes an appearance, which I was like, whoa, where has Josh Hartnett been? Hugh Grant in the terrible accent. He does it the whole movie, and I hated it. And I was like, I hate this character. He's, an arms dealer that's super wealthy and just obsessed with this actor and has so much money, he doesn't know what to do. He's so money, he doesn't even know, baby. Like, his accent's ridiculous through the whole movie. There's a scene where he's like, well, you like that car, Josh? And he goes, yes, I love this car. And he goes, it's yours now. Like, it was just so over the top, so bad. Bad. It was like a mixture of Welsh, Scottish, and English, and you'll hear them all just in there. It's just so bad. It was a spy movie, a team spy movie. It's just like, is it about weapons? Is it about money? Is it about the government? And it just, nothing matters. It's just so bad. So I just gave it a popcorn there. Good try, Guy Ritchie. Good job, Amazon, still having money to throw around all over the place. I watched Kindred, and just for the sheer fact that you're not getting a second season, I gave it a pop and 1. If you want to see a very interesting story concept, check it out. It's only 8 episodes. Each episode's about 46 minutes. It is a very interesting concept because it takes place with our main character selling her brownstone in New York, moving out to Los Angeles to become a comedy writer, where she discovers that as she hits a certain spot in her life, her family, her lineage gets sucked back into the 1800s. She is an African-American woman, so she goes to an obvious place when she gets sucked back into the 1800s. And it's terrible, it's awful, but she does bring back her white next-door neighbor, and we kind of see things from the perspective of a white man going back in time and seeing just how bad it was for black people in those times and seeing it firsthand, not reading it in a history book. And that perspective was fairly interesting. There is a plot twist that'll never get solved because you will never get a second season. Sorry, I left this out of my Beef review. Same thing. It doesn't end the way you think in Beef. Beef does not end the way you think it's going to end throughout the whole series. Kindred is the same. You did see it coming, to be honest. You saw how it ended coming, but because you're not going to get a second season, you're never going to get closure. And that kind of sucks. It leaves a whole lot of plot set up for season 2, and you're just not going to get that.
That's tough.
Yeah. I also watched Saw 2, terrible movie, popcorn, no need to watch it. Drug addict, pardon me, addicted to needles, falls in love with Jigsaw, becomes his protege, designs her own Saw trap in Saw 2. I don't think she lives out of Saw 3 or 4, one of the two. It's just a terrible movie, to be honest. Saw 2 is great. It's really bad. So, popcorn.
You like any of the Saw movies?
I did until I rewatched it, and I was like, wow, these are terrible.
Maybe.
Like, on the rewatch, I was like, I can't believe I thought this was a good movie.
Yeah.
What was that, Josh?
I might have to go back and check it out because I remember Saw 2 being like impressive to me. I loved it. But maybe.
Yeah,
I thought 2 was my favorite one out of all of them. I mean, they're all not great.
you have your stereotypical big Latino guy, like, running around. And you've got, like, the heroin addict and the crybaby police officer's son. It was bad popcorn. I mean, I was sad. I was like, hey, maybe I'll rewatch the whole series. It's all on Netflix right now. You know, just rewatch it from Saw 1 all the way through. And it was Saw 2. I was like, I don't need to watch these.
I remember 3 or 4 being pretty good, too. I forgot which one I liked, but anyway.
Hey, you saw 1, you saw 2, you saw them all.
So,
hey.
So I did We're the Millers as well. Jason Sudeikis, obviously huge right now because of Ted Lasso. I love that movie. It's great. And I, as we know, I'm not a huge Ed Helms guy. He has a one thing, like that's his whole thing. He's always the same. He's not super talented, but he made it. And what else can we say? He made it. He's doing his thing. Good for him. But him playing the drug dealer is interesting because he's such a white guy. It's me. I'm Pablo Chacon. And Jason Sudeikis, Jennifer Aniston, great chemistry. Much better than Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston.
Totally.
Emma Roberts' star turn, probably, I think, in We're the Millers. Because she's amazing in the movie. Obviously, the famous Not a Saying.
Yeah.
I do.
No regrets.
Regrets.
Not even one? Not even one letter?
Not even a letter? Wait, you guys got paid? That meme will always be forever now. Yeah, so going into popcorn and 2 beers for me. What was that? Yeah, he's about to be yoked, right?
Adam Warlock, dude. Yeah.
He looks big. And then I also watched another comedy. I watched Free Guy. I was having a bunch of people over yesterday, so we had the TV going. We had some movies. We had some food out. Free Guy, another really good comedy for the times that we're in. I love that perspective of an NPC, right? Like, always getting the coffee, and then I love the scene when he switches up. He goes, you know what, today I think I'll have a cappuccino. And everything freezes him. And then he's like, what are you doing? Guy, don't get up. Don't get up. Sit down. And then just the little sister, just waste this MFer. This NPC is broken. Just waste him. I love that. A video game, falling in love with a real person. Channing Tatum's scene in that movie, just, gosh, it gets me every single time. Like, from him hitting on Guy, he's like, so, want to do something else? Want to do something else? And to him arguing with his mom, like, Mom, I told you I'm in the middle of something! Like, all of it. That whole character. Channing Tatum is the last person you really see, like, to do that, and he did the same thing to us in, what was the movie? Oh, God, this is the end. Yeah, where he plays the dog. Exact same thing. Like, I think he can get away with that role as long as he wants. Like, as many times as he wants to do that surprising character, he can do it.
He's like, yeah, dude, Channing Tatum loves me.
So I love it. I don't know if you guys love it. I also love Taika Waititi. He's one of my favorites around right now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I gave it a popcorn, 2 beers as well for that comedy. The last movie I watched outside of our selections today was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Chadwick should have won the award. No offense to Anthony Hopkins. I understand that was kind of a lifetime achievement to Anthony Hopkins, but when somebody else dies, you should probably consider them for the lifetime achievement also. With Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, opens up in the 1927 forest in a hidden jazz club, right, like an underground jazz club, where obviously she's killing it, right? Viola Davis is in there killing it, crushing that role, and then it leads us to the studio where the rest of the movie takes place, right, in the recording studio. And then you get Chadwick Boseman's character, and you don't know a lot about him, but you find out more about him as the role progresses, as you learn more about Chadwick Boseman, as you learn more about him and what he has had to go through in life. And there is a monologue that he gives about the farmhouse and all the white men raping his mother and how his father got back at these white men, and that's why his father wasn't in his life, because he got 2 of them before they got him. It's got a tragic ending. You see a very tragic story played out in Chadwick Boseman's character, and I just thought to myself, man, he really probably should have won that Best Actor award for this movie. Granted, it's only an hour and 39 minutes, hour and 36 minutes, and that's why I put it on. I was like, I just want something short that I'm going to enjoy. It's a great film. Everyone kills it. Everyone crushes their role. A 1, a 2, a you know what to do. That was fun throughout the movie. The ending is so tragic, though. I still give it a popcorn and 2 beers, but that end stuck with me at the very end. Spoiler alert, he also has the songs that he wrote that he felt like was going to pull him out and make him a star, stolen by white people and sung by white people. So good movie. Definitely recommend it, but popcorn and 2 beers, and the ending will stick with you. Have you guys seen Ma Rainey yet?
No, never heard of it.
Okay. Yeah, it's on Netflix for free. It's a quick watch, like an hour and 36 minutes. It's a good film. All takes place in the recording studio, so you don't have a lot to follow. It's all just centralized in one spot.
That's
with
really
one thing going on, and you just have to pay attention to one storyline.
Okay.
Josh, what were you watching?
Well, I watched The Proposal with old Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds and Sam.
Yeah, I watched The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandy Bullock. It's a great show. Little Betty White action, tongue-in-cheek stuff, not too serious. It was a fun movie, nice rom-com. Rom-coms are kind of rare in this day and age, and that movie's not exactly this day and age anymore, but it was semi-modern. It was fun. I don't know. Just a nice feel-good movie. I give it a popcorn and 1. It's not bad. You know, it's fun. You just smile the whole time. It's not exactly hilarious, but it's cute. Blah, blah, blah. I watched The Craft, old teen movie taking place with these 4 girls that have witch powers, and they form a coven, and they dig a little too deep into black magic and things go awry. And when I was a child, or I don't know, grade school, middle school, I loved this movie. I was in love with like all the girls in it because I was, a teenager and they were just cute and all that stuff. And they're cool because they're cool witches, and that's maybe why I like goths. I like goth stuff. You know what I mean? But upon rewatching it, it's still okay, but it's very dated and not the greatest acting in the world, not the greatest storyline, but it is kind of a monkey paw scenario. It was kind of like more of a fun watch than a good movie, so I give that a popcorn. Yeah, it was okay.
What were the references that you were like, this is dated?
Oh, well, almost all of the magical stuff that happens. There's so much like bad graphics and
Gotcha.
And just not exactly the language that was used, but just the way people talked. It just seemed so almost inorganic. It probably was inorganic, but like more so because it was 90s. I don't know.
Yeah.
The clothing for sure, and the music was very, very old. It was good. I mean, it was a fun movie.
Cruel Intentions. Like if we were to watch Cruel Intentions again.
Yeah, similar to Cruel Intentions. It's one of those movies that preteen kids should watch because it's fun. Magic is fun. Whatever. Same thing for Practical Magic, what we talked about before. So yeah, popcorn. I'll give it a popcorn, sure. I watched Wild Girls Gone though. And that was on YouTube, and I just discovered it. It's a 2007 movie, so I'm not sure if you guys know who the Upright Citizens Brigade are, but Amy Poehler is a founding member, and it's her and three other guys. You've seen them all. They've been in movies all over the place, and just about.
Do they do the American Summer, the Wet Hot American Summer?
Not officially, but a lot of them are in it. Yeah. That's the thing about the Upright Citizens Brigade. Initially it's a comedy troupe, like the Groundlings in L.A. or Second City. So New York has Upright Citizens Brigade, and I would say just about half of the people on Saturday Night Live for the past 10 years are part of the Upright Citizens Brigade. Like almost everybody.
Okay.
Tina Fey, Andy Richter.
Kind of like the Broken Lizard guys. Is that what they're called?
Broken Lizard
guys.
Them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Groundlings, like Will Ferrell was part of the Groundlings. It was kind of just about when they had a TV show for 3 seasons on Comedy Central, and it was really weird comedy based on their improv sketches. And then I just found out they made a movie, so I had to watch it. Wild Girls Gone. It's a story about a sheriff who's running for mayor who's trying to ban the ass contests on spring break. And that's the whole movie's about ass contests. And who has the best? And Amy Poehler plays the alcoholic wife who won ass contest winner in the 80s, and she's trying to bring it back. And it's
hold on to that.
Yeah, I can just picture that role. Like the second you said it, my head was like right there.
Exactly. So it's very self-explanatory. There's almost no production value, so it was actually worse production value than the TV show on Comedy Central in the early 90s, mid 90s. But it was just like one big long episode of their TV show, or it's just clearly improv that has been shoved into a movie somewhat coherently. So it's just sketch after sketch, kind of, with some characters. Wild Girls Gone. It's silly. It's stupid. If you like dumb comedy, it's on YouTube. It's called Wild Girls Gone. Upright Citizens Brigade. If you're a fan of them, then you'll like the show. I give it a popcorn and 1, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I watched Tag. Yeah, I forgot about Tag. I know we've reviewed it before, but I finally watched it all the way through. I don't remember having seen the whole thing before. It's pretty good. It was a fun movie. It's a nice, easy ride through the memory lane thing, make it kind of nostalgic and a little warm-hearted, but it's like a cool theme based on a true story, and they have a little fun with it. Hannibal Buress, I would say, is the MVP of the show. He's just so quick with the dry ass one-liners. He's not even the forefront of the show hardly, but he's just really good with the little lines.
Yeah,
it's fun. Another ham movie. Fry hates ham. More of a turkey fellow. I don't know. It just seemed like one of those movies that everyone not exactly dialed in, but it wasn't like everyone's betting everything on this. Like Rashida Jones was in it. Like, hey, I'm in the movie. That was her first line of the movie. And then all the guys, Ed Helms, and then like, okay, Ed Helms is here. I guess that's fine. I'm not mad about it. So I give it a popcorn and 1. It is a good movie. You should watch it, but don't expect much.
They did it for the money.
Oh, shout out to
Jordan,
Renner.
what were you watching?
Get better soon, bud.
Yeah. He's got a little documentary or an interview or something, right? That just came out somewhere.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He did his first interview since the snowplow.
I have to check that out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I watched a real big heavy hitter movie called Primal Fear. Famous movie. I've heard it referenced a lot in a lot of different things. So I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and watch this. It's on Paramount Plus. What's always kind of steered me away from is I'm not a Richard Gere fan.
Mm-hmm.
Never have been. I don't know what it is. He's just got a smug. Yeah. Oh, well, I think I know what you're talking about. He's got a real smug face. I don't really like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
You got
totally.
27, right? Yeah. Never liked Pretty Woman. No, that's a classic movie. But
First Night, was that his King Arthur movie? First Night.
He was okay in that.
With Sean Connery.
Oh my god,
he was okay.
So you got 27-year-old Edward Norton playing a 19-year-old. It's a little odd. He looks way too old to be 19 in that movie. But he was excellent. Got a Oscar nomination. I think he won actually Best Supporting Actor for his role in that movie.
He did good.
And that was his 3rd movie ever. So he got that, that kind of kicked off his career, got American History X after that, and the rest is history. Laura Linney. American History X, that's what it's called?
No, you said American History X, and then you said the rest is history, and I said X. Sorry, bad.
Laura Linney is in there playing Wendy Bird from Ozark.
Oh.
It's like the only character I think she can play.
That one,
she's
right there.
Yeah, she's good.
I've always liked her though.
Really young. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said I've always liked her. She's a cutie pie.
Oh yeah. She's got a command of that role. She's kind of typecast into that, but hey, she does it well. So keep doing it. Really young, surprisingly cute. I mean, no major disrespect to her, but a surprisingly cute young Frances McDormand in there. I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, that's her. Yeah. She's really good in it as well. Court procedural movies or shows never really seem all that enticing to me, but more often than not, they turn out pretty good. I think, you're always like, oh God, a court procedural, like how different can this one be from any other one? And most of the time I end up enjoying those kinds of movies,
Mm-hmm.
And there's a line about defense attorneys that Richard Gere gives, and he's like, you're always sitting next to some creep, so you start to look creepy yourself, which is true because it's like you think the worst obviously guilty criminals have to be represented by somebody, right?
Yeah,
like somebody's got to be the guy to defend.
Yeah,
Dahmer, or what have you. Insert
they're entitled to due process,
right? So it's just it's a interesting dynamic to look at that, but it's just all about the money. It's a job.
Yeah. Do you guys like Riz Ahmed? Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes. No. Go ahead. Yeah, no, I love that show. What's your
The Night of?
Yes.
That's what I was going to reference, and you said that. And obviously, he wasn't the worst of the worst. You kind of go through the process of how the prison system destroys innocent people as well.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of that when you said that. Is my mind immediately went to like The Really Terrible Lawyer by John Turturro in The Night of. Riz Ahmed's great. Sorry, I love Riz Ahmed.
With his itchy feet. Oh God, it's so gross.
Yeah, that was so nasty. And as a wrapped in like saran wrap with Crisco or whatever he's putting on his feet.
Oh.
Why is he doing that?
He has like a weird rash, and he's looking up like home remedies to fix his rash on his feet. And it's John Turturro. And it's funny because in my head, like you guys have seen the theme here, I go, "Oh, this is the second movie he's had an issue with his feet." because he has, Mr. Deeds.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it wasn't his feet, Mr. Deeds. It was Adam Sandler's foot.
Yeah.
But remember, he stabs his foot with the fire poker. And then in The Night Up, he's got his own issue. But yeah, Josh, he like wraps his feet in like saran wrap and like Crisco.
It's so gross.
I hate it.
There's some weird and also like weirdly placed music, kind of like as I think. Wait, this is a '90s movie, right? '90s, early '90s,
late '80s, early '90s.
They made weird choices with
so
music,
like a lot of those. Yeah, a lot of those movies at that time it's kind of weirdly placed and just kind of odd music that kind of kills a couple scenes. It's a good twist. There's a all-time great twist. It's an old movie, and so I don't want to. You never spoil a classic twist like that. I'm not going to give anything away on it because it's just if you haven't seen it, you have to experience it. It's a good one. I give it a popcorn and 3 beers. Great movie.
3.
Very cool.
Great movie. Yeah. So this morning I actually got in an extra movie, watched Labyrinth with David Bowie, Jim Henson. It's a weird movie.
Who's the girl? Is it Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly. She's adorable in it, yeah.
Adorable.
But
she doesn't miss.
Yeah. it is odd. I remember as a kid watching this and it making me uncomfortable watching it. Kind of David Bowie's, some of his outfits are a little revealing.
He's wearing a cock piece too in one of them, isn't he? Does he have a cock piece? Yeah, that's what I thought. You
can see definitions to it that's just not appropriate for a kid's movie. I've always felt like, and it's just, as a kid, it's kind of like androgynous thing he's got going on. It was just very confusing. And then the weird dynamic between him and Jennifer Connelly's character, it's like, he's kind of trying to seduce this underage girl. I don't know, what's happening here. The puppetry, the design, a lot of that stuff that stuff holds up. It's really cool looking. The effects are dated. Some of the background effects and stuff. Some good, funny, crude kind of, stuff you could get away with back then. Humor in kind of like a kid's movie, A lot of just stupid fart sounds and just dumb stuff like that. That's easy winning. I never cared for it that much, but I'm gonna give it a popcorn and a beer. It's a classic. Not everyone's thing, but to some people it's everything. Some people love that movie.
If you didn't give it a popcorn and a beer, my mother and your mother would be in our mentions mad at you.
Really? I don't know. My mom likes that movie.
Both. Yeah. All young ladies from that generation like that movie.
Yeah, you can't.
I wonder why.
You can't get around it. Have you heard that it's real popular on the internet headcanon that I forgot exactly how it goes, and it's been so long since I've seen the show, but there's a whole theory that the Labyrinth thing is happened over and over and over time. So she's not the first, and she's maybe not the last one. But
I have heard this. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I have heard what you're talking about, though.
Well, maybe you can clarify, but something like Goblin King Man is he's always been trying to find the girl, and they've always been the same girl for some reason. I forgot exactly. Maybe you can clarify it if you remember it, right?
Well, no, yeah, it's only different from the Wizard of Oz and the Return to Wizard of Oz, and different from the other one I'm trying to think of, Alice in Wonderland and the Return to Wonderland, in the sense that it's always a different girl that he's searching for to find the one. But it's along that same similar thought process where they keep stumbling into this world, this different land, this labyrinth in this scenario. But there's a dark version where he kills all the girls that are not the girl, and then there's a different version that I've read where they wake up back in their bed, not in the labyrinth, but they wake up back in their world, right, where they're not killed. I've heard both. The Goblin King kills them. Goblin King kills them in one version I've heard, and the other version they just wake up it was all just a fever dream.
Yeah. That's cool. I think some headcanons are worth thinking about and being interested in.
Tell me you couldn't see this one getting remade with, I don't know, Harry Styles?
Chris Pratt.
I don't know. You don't like Harry Styles? You don't like Harry Styles?
Harry Styles,
friend.
No, he's a right place, right time person. That's all he is. He's the
a lot
new
of people
Justin
are.
Timberlake.
Yeah,
He
that's
makes
fine.
good music.
I hate Watermelon Sugar. I hate it. I hate
It's
it
catchy.
so much.
I don't like it, but it's catchy.
To answer your question directly, yes, sir, I can see that happening. I think it's the look too, because I figured this out today. I'm not a huge fan of Nicholas Hoult, who will be in our Butter on Top. I'm not a huge fan of Timothy Chalamet, and I'm not a huge fan of Harry Styles, and they all have one thing in common: white pasty
Androgynous
dudes
face.
that are about rail thin, and everybody thinks they're attractive and they're good
Yeah.
at their job. And I'm just like,
Malnourished
Timothy
European
Chalamet
child.
does the same exact acting job. Go ahead. What'd you
Malnourished,
say?
malnourished European child. That's the look.
And I just look at them and I'm like, they do the same role every single time. Like, it's the same act. Harry Styles has been doing the whole, oh, look at me, I support everyone. Look at the way I'm so crazy. I dressed in a dress when I came out. And there's nothing wrong with it, but he's just doing a thing. I don't believe a single thing he does. Well, I guess that's a perfect place for us to jump into our drunk classic, which was mine this week, and I selected Interview with the Vampire to go along with our Butter on Top, which was of course, pardon me, Renfield.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down the actors' names immediately. I was like, Brad, Antonio, Tom, Kirsten, Kristen, Thandie. Like, there's so many stars in this movie. It's littered, but then I wrote down the wigs.
Yeah.
The wigs were so much, from Kirsten Dunst's like curly little doll hair wig to Tom Cruise like highlight blonde long hair. The homoerotic relationship between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, mainly Tom Cruise towards Brad Pitt. I think I said to Josh when we talked about it, Tom Cruise wanted to just live on Brad Pitt's neck in this movie. He was so about Brad Pitt's character. Yeah. Louis.
Mr.
Louis. Brad Pitt is great in this role, telling the story. Tom Cruise is good, clownish, almost to refer to our Butter on Top, almost Nicolas Cage-ish in his portrayal of the Turner, the vampire that turns Kirsten Dunst and Louis, Brad Pitt's character. It's a good film. It's a good story. I think it kind of holds up. You have in the final scene, you do have a tribute to cinema about how Louis says that cinema allows him to see a sunset, but he doesn't call it cinema. He calls it a mechanical innovation, but allows him to see his first sunset. And then, of course, when he goes to France with Kirsten Dunst and they meet Antonio Banderas and they go to the play and he says the line, vampires who pretend to be humans pretending to be vampires.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines in all of movies. It's so key to the storyline. It's so funny, and it leads into what happens next. I think it's an interesting tale on vampires, an interesting take, how every vampire from every region could have different powers, could possess different abilities. Also, Christian Slater doesn't learn a lesson from Louis' story, obviously. And Tom Cruise shows that he's been following Louis throughout his entire life as he shows up at the very end, spoiler alert, in Christian Slater's car, right? The rider that doesn't realize how much torture living forever could be, having to feed off the blood of humans, and how torturous it was for Brad Pitt's character, Louis, so much so that for years of his life, he only ate rats.
Yeah. If I want to find you, I just got to follow the trail of dead rats.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So for me, I gave it a popcorn and 2 beers. I thought it held up. I thought it was still a really good movie. The star power is crazy, what everyone in this movie went on to do. But what about you? What did you think?
Well, for this review, I got to...
No wig.
No wig. This is real hair from my head. So if I was Christian Slater, here's how it would go. If I was him living that role. Okay, let's get started. So what do? I'm a vampire. All right, click. That'll be all. Goodbye. Dial 911. Leave. I watching this. I think it's about maybe my 3rd or 4th time watching this, and it never really clicked to me. Like the whole benevolent slave owner, plantation owner, role that Brad Pitt plays. It's like, you don't like it. It kind of rubs you wrong, but
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, part of history. Stories sometimes play out like that. I don't know.
Sandy Newton has the line, "You haven't even been down to the slaves' quarters, and it's time to ask questions." And you're like, ugh.
Yeah,
Gross.
yeah. And then, okay, so as soon as I saw Tom Cruise in the movie,
Mhm.
my like initial reaction is, I wonder what Scientology's official stance is on vampires.
What do they have to say about this?
Yeah. What was their press release when he came out with this? And I went down a rabbit hole of Scientology, but
Wasn't he I feel like he was involved in Kabbalah when this came out. I don't feel like he was quite into Scientology yet.
No, he came out as a Scientologist. I Googled it. I went down this whole rabbit hole.
Okay.
I think he publicly came out as a Scientologist in 86.
Oh my gosh.
Very early in his career. Yeah. So
that's wild. Okay.
I would say his acting is really, it's great in this movie, but I think that's just who he is. I think he's just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise. I think that's how he is in his
just playing
day-to-day
Tom
life.
Cruise.
Yeah. Just playing that weird elder vampire kind of creepy guy.
Better than everybody, only feeds on aristocrats.
Yeah. I feel like the parallels between the careers between Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise, I think Tom Cruise, with his antics and his weirdness, could have very easily, I mean, not to say Nicolas Cage is like scrub or his career is not good or something, but just like how he's kind of the butt of jokes now, and he's just in these terrible movies just being really weird, doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
That could very easily have been the trajectory of Tom Cruise's career. I think he just, they're like, we can't have two of these weird personas be that successful. Like, one guy's got to be, one's the heel.
Has to be a legend.
Yeah. I give it. Oh, one of my favorite parts is when he goes in. I think it's when he first turns the girl, Kirsten Dunst, and he's dancing with the dead mom's corpse.
Yes.
In the room, she's all dead from the plague, and he's like,
he's swinging her around the room while Kirsten Dunst is just out because Louis just drained her of blood.
Yeah. It was a funny scene. I give it a popcorn 2.
Poppin' 2. So a couple poppin' 2s. Josh?
Interview with the Vampire. Great film. Out of the gate, popcorn and 2. I'd say it doesn't get a 3 because it kind of mashes things together. It's, 5 centuries, 3 centuries, a long time, almost 3 centuries, I think, that they just shove into one movie. And I'm sure the book is a lot deeper than the movie. Like all the little bits and piece subplots and stuff, I think they only barely touched, I'm assuming. I haven't read the books. Speaking of the books, though, Anne Rice is the author. She's also had 2 or 3 other movies inspired by her works, and they have a new show on Netflix, I believe it's HBO, on HBO coming, or it's out already. Want to see that? Maybe I'll review it for next week if I have time. But you know how mid-2000s or whatever, we had Twilight and the kids went crazy. Interview with the Vampire was the whole 90s. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was dressing like it. Goth kids were going crazy about it. The whole acting, the way that they acted was emulated by the weirdos. It was just a great movie. Big stars everywhere. Good acting. Kirsten Dunst for sure. One of the most overlooked actors on the planet. Brad Pitt. Yep. The very gay movie. Very gay movie, but it was beautiful. Also, it was over the top, but in a beautiful way. You know what I mean? Anyway. Very gay, very tasteful in its own right. I used to play a drinking game with this movie. So it was anytime you see vampire fangs, you drink. Anytime you see someone get bit, you drink. Anytime you see blood, you drink. And then if that's not bad enough, anytime you saw Antonio Banderas do something sexy, you take a drink. So we were hammered as soon as we saw Antonio Banderas. Couldn't finish the movie. They did have continuations, but it was loosely based, the way X-Men movies are loosely based on the last one. Anyway, beautiful. It's no sparkling vampires. It's cool vampires. They deal with some things that, like our Butter on Top talks about, things that happen when you live forever and dealing with humanity and morality and finding a purpose. Like someone had to become an immortal monster to realize what it's like to be human. And that makes a good story, doesn't it? But that's it. Popcorn and 2, almost a 3. The wigs. A little bit dated, though. I'm glad to see. I hope to see a good remake when they do, or when I watch the HBO new series. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Of course, Jordan, we had our butter on top this week with our Cage-ish, Nicolas Cage in Renfield. I think you were the only one that didn't enjoy it. And I'm not saying it was a great movie. I did, in fact, say it could have been a renter. But what did you think?
Yeah, it was absolutely a streamer type for me, you know. What the hell is ska? There's a lot of references to it in the beginning of the movie. And I'm just like, I've never heard of this in my life. And I just didn't
No
get
doubt
it.
It was kind of ska.
What is ska?
It's a type of music. It's like Sublime mixed with like a little bit of rock, a little bit of No Doubt. That's kind of ska.
So like alternative?
No, like so Sublime's not alternative. It's like a white kind of reggae, kind of rock.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't get it. Didn't get those references at all. So that was like, I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Decent action scenes, but horrible effects.
Okay.
The effects are really bad, like the blood spurting and all that. Nick Cage plays it so terribly good in the only way that Nicolas Cage can play roles, just so bad but so good at the same time. The inner monologues that kind of happen in like those dramatic climactic scenes, and then it's like, oh, here's
Renfield.
Nicholas Holt. Yeah, here's his inner monologue, and it's like, God, that killed it. But it took me out of like, there's a couple scenes where I'm like, why are they doing this here right now? Not good. I liked, I believe it was Nicolas Cage's line, I wish to spend a season in hell where all the amusing people are.
Yep, that was Nicolas Cage. I also really liked that line, and I understood it. I got what he was saying.
Yeah, it was a good one. I give it a popcorn, though.
All right, a popcorn from you. So I wrote down immediately, interesting take on Dracula, almost Igor-like. And when I say that, I felt like Renfield was, yes, he's his familiar, but I felt like he played it almost like Igor to Frankenstein, to Dr. Frankenstein, where he has this like slight guilt about getting the body parts. I don't know if you remember the way Daniel Radcliffe portrayed Igor in the Frankenstein movie a while back with, I want to say, James McAvoy.
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay, so he portrays it in almost like he's so happy to serve him until he's like, wait, I'm getting this guy like dead guy body parts, like I'm grave robbing, and that's kind of what you get from Renfield in this film. Is like he starts to feel guilty. I love the quote in the New Orleans police department: "Don't solve the crime till overtime." Did you catch that?
Yeah.
In the back. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, what a subtle shot at the police department. And yes, it is a dirty police department in the movie. They're paid off. They are compromised is the word I was looking for there. But I love that line. I love the motivational posters in his house when he puts up all the motivational that killed me. Seeing each one of those motivational posters. The abusive relationship that like they do it so well when Dracula shows up to Renfield's apartment. I did really enjoy that scene, that acting battle between Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage, and then Nicolas Cage is going full Al Pacino in the middle of the apartment and laughing in his face when he says, "You will not victimize me anymore." They broke the Lost Boys Rule 101, and as I wrote that down, I said, man, maybe that would have been a good drunk classic. The Lost Boys.
I thought about that too. Yeah, I just love that movie.
So you got the Coreys in that, you got Kiefer in that. But yes, I said Lost Boys 101, never invite him in. Yeah. And I love that how he got invited into Renfield's house, right?
Yeah.
The doormat. Come on in. I thought there was some good little creative touches by the director, I thought. Again, I did say I thought this was a renter. I said this movie gave a whole new meaning to rip your arms off and beat you with them.
Yeah.
And it was so gory. It was extreme gore, and they were going for it. And I kind of liked it. I know you didn't, but I kind of missed the over-the-top gore. Just go nuts, go crazy. Just look at it and go, that was so stupid. But, like, I liked it.
The gore was fine. I liked the gore, but I thought the effects of it were really bad for, like, a modern movie. I don't know. It just looked very phony.
Well, they did a Mortal Kombat X fatality scene, too.
Did they?
Yeah, you remember Mortal Kombat X, where some of the fatalities, when you hit them, you see the bones break inside there?
Oh, yeah.
They have a whole Mortal Kombat fatality scene in the movie. I thought the gang was over the top, the drug gang. John Ralphio as the son of the drug kingpin was funny.
John Ralphio, yep.
I did like the fight scene between Renfield and, what is it, that I don't. Have you seen this guy? He wears tugs around his neck. I don't think he's gonna care that his name's racist. I gave it a pop and a beer. At the end of the day, this is definitely a film that's right up Josh's alley. So let's get Josh's review.
Renfield was good. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. You weren't paying attention. I do agree, though. I guess it was a renter. I'm glad I saw it in theaters because it was kind of over the top sometimes. The action scenes were nice to be seen in theater. The comedy was good. It was hit and miss. Not in like some jokes were bad and some jokes were good. Some jokes were really good and some jokes were just there. Similar to Awkwafina's performance. I love Awkwafina, and I've said it before. Sometimes she had me laughing just with a gesture. And then other times it's like, okay, well, she's a character in the movie, and let's just get through the exposition and whatever. Same goes for Holt, honestly. I thought he was good. I don't know. They leaned a lot on his comedy, and his horror did seem real, but because it was a comedy-like movie, I didn't really feel anything for his character per se, other than he was the main character and he was in a toxic relationship, and that was cool. So the toxic relationship aspect between him and Dracul was pretty cool. Fry mentioned Igor. Well, Renfield is Igor to Dracula. He's not a new character. He's been in the canon of Dracula. So, yep, but they did play the same roles with Harry Potter boy, Daniel, and Igor with the McAvoy. Yep, on the Frankenstein film. I thought it was great. Nicolas Cage was built for this. Like, everything he's ever been in has brought him to this. He even looks like the old, what's the guy's name? Bill Lugosi, is that right? I don't know. But the old Dracula from the 40s even looks the part. And screenplay was Robert Kirkman, the guy from Walking Dead. That should give you a hint as to the gore and the obscene, extreme violence. Unbelievable, but it's good in that kind of violence. And if that wasn't enough, Robert Kirkman also did Invincible. I'm sure you haven't read the comic, but maybe you've seen the show on Amazon. That is bloody. Splashes of blood everywhere. That's what he likes, I guess. But he always seems to have some sort of lighthearted, dark sense of humor. That's just a weird way to put it. You could definitely see his influence on the script, and it was pretty much pulled off well. The mob characters were cartoony and over the top, but I think that added to it. Everything was just like the kid. It'd be like, what's his name? John Ralphio. Schwartzman? Ben Schwartz. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm just evil, dude. I just want to do evil shit. Like, okay, so this is a cartoon. As long as we all agree, then that's great. I do like the over buttering the toast on the whole toxic relationship thing and going into it. Then he goes to the self-help group, and then all that happens. It was very entertaining. Probably more of a streaming movie. Popcorn, and I say for me too. Maybe I'll review it again and change my mind, but I'm pretty sure it's a popcorn and two. It was just fun. Made me happy the whole way through. I was very surprised with how much I liked it. I knew it would be good, but it was really pretty entertaining for me. I liked it a lot. That's it for me, guys. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Josh. And as always, thank you to the audience. Where can they reach us, Jordan?
Popcorn and beers, no D. Popcorn AN beers.
So follow us on Twitter. Hit the like button. Don't forget to go to the Sad Fan Podcast Network on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review, leave us messages. What movies do you want to watch? I did get a note that somebody wants us to watch 9 to 5. We'll get to it. Dolly Parton is very lovable. I promise we will get there. Other than that, we'll see you at the movies.
Butter on top. And the Drunk Classic for next week.
You got us, yes. So, Drunk Classic for next week is 12 Monkeys, and the butter on top will be See No Evil. No. Evil Dead
Rise. Yeah, Evil Dead
Rise. A sequel 10 years in the making. Right?
Yes. Yep.
So, we will see you at the movies. Thanks so much for coming.